This is an airfield runway light. Let's take it apart and see if we can't see some of the bits inside. So first off, when we look at the outside of this thing, we'll notice that there is two toggle bolts on the side. And the two toggle bolts for this particular brand are to secure it to the post that this is going to be mounted on, right? Because this is always going to be mounted in a vertical position in the ground, and it's going to be elevated above the ground by a certain distance. And that's going to be mounted to a big rigid galvanized steel post. So these are what actually fix it to the post. Now there's a little bit of a groove there that allows this cable to come out, so it would sort of slip in like that. So obviously the cord doesn't get pinched. Now the cord itself has a proprietary cord end connection. It's only a two-prong connection, and that is very common for all of these types of lights. This simply connects to the single phase isolation transformer, which is a 1-to-1 voltage ratio, and it's direct burial rated, right? So this, there's no morettes, there's no splicing. All you do is you go plug into the connector for the transformer, and I'll show the transformer in a different video. What else is there on the outside? Well, you'll notice there's 1, 2, 3, looks like threaded screws that go all the way through there. And those threaded screws are actually for aligning this light once it is fixed on the post, because this thing needs to be level with the ground. It can't be sort of up like this or off like that. It has to be perfectly level, just like you're setting up a, I don't know, a travel trailer. So you put a level on it, and it needs to be perfect. And so the way that you adjust it, I'll show you when we take it off. There will be screw heads inside that we can adjust these, and the whole housing will pivot here on this, which will stay stationary. So there's a couple of parts to the lens as well, and this is an older light, so the gasket is inside, so failing a little bit, so that's why we have a little bit of black material there. But if we take this off, that is just the main clasp, which holds the entire assembly together, and then we have this. So let's get this off to the side, and let's take a look at what's inside this thing. So I'll put that off to the side as well, and we'll come back to it. So inside we have the light bulb. Now take a look at the light bulb. That is a very tiny light bulb. That's a halogen light bulb, and it is specifically rated for this individual fixture. This is not something that you get off the typical wholesaler floor, nor from Home Depot. This has been specifically designed to give off the right brightness, the right color, everything, so that this light is exactly the same as the light beside it and the light on the other side. So even different brands of light will not work, or different brands of light bulb will not work inside this light. So just something to keep in mind. Interesting. All right, so what else do we have here? Well, the light itself, the light bulb is just sort of held in place by these two little arms here. There's not much there. And we can see that they then connect into a couple of stake-ons. And the stake-ons are just very basic stake-ons. They just, standard connection. There's not a huge amount of voltage going to this thing. It's like 13, 14 volts. So, I mean, not a whole lot of insulation on those conductors because they're really basic. Now, the light bulb itself, we are not to touch. The light bulb itself, when you put it in, you're not to touch that thing because the oils on your fingers can start to degrade the glass, and it can cause hot spots and make the glass fail early. So that's what this thing is. And if we take a look inside, there's actually a little bit more. So there's a toggle on the side of this thing. And if we untwist that and give it a little shaky shake, that's the technical term. There we go. This comes off, and this is where we can see those, looks like there's 4 screws in there. And by tightening or loosening those screws, you would be able to make the top portion of this angle over in whatever direction you need in order for it to be level. So you'd put a level across the top of this flange. So pretty incredible stuff. I mean, it's all specifically designed only for airfield applications. So let's take these and set them off to the side, and instead we're going to look at the lens that we had taken off. Now the lens on every airfield light is going to have two parts to it, either like two physical parts or a design feature built into one half of it. So if we look on the top, you can sort of see it's a fully enclosed glass, and there appears to be ribs. Sort of see those lines there, the ribs? So what it is actually two separate globes. So there's this one and there's this one. And the reason behind having the globes on here is you can barely even see it. It states where you're supposed to position the light. This actually says runway side. And that's because the ribs on the side here are going to direct the light out this way. It's not going to be just like a standard strobe light where all of the light is equally dispersed. It's going to direct the light this way. And so specifically, this fixture would have to be aligned so that it's directly pointing over to the runway. Even this one indicates on it runway side, and then it has a little arrow there. Runway side, kind of hard to see in the reflection there, but you can sort of see there's the arrow. So the way in which the diffuser or the glass has been arranged and manufactured ensures again that the light only travels, or the majority or the most intense light travels in that direction. So, a couple of different portions of the lens, the flange, and the light itself. When it comes to airfield lighting, everything is very specific. It has been designed and intended only for one application, and that application is airfield lighting.